What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. This one was a little impromptu. That's why I still have my morning eyes on. I literally just woke up about maybe, 30 minutes ago. But I went and checked my emails this morning, as I always do, and it was absolutely flooded with one of the same requests, which was, Luke, can you do a video, even a quick video, about foods that I should be stocking up on, that I should be growing in my garden, just in case this were to ever happen again, or if this continues for longer than we suspect. And so, this is definitely an impromptu video. Just got ready for the morning, so don't mind my frazzleness. But I do feel like I have a sense of responsibility to get this information out to you guys, and I do have a sense of urgency with that because all around the world, this whole thing has really turned everything upside down. It's turned supply chains into complete chaos, from toilet paper all the way to bread. It's just absolutely crazy. So the first thing that you can be growing are high calorie crops. These are stuff like potatoes, carrots, corn, things like that. Those are very high calorie crops because they're high in starches. You can even grow rice as well. Now, we do sell rice seed over at MIgardener.com, but in this instance, what I would recommend doing, because rice is very shelf stable, is buy rice. We actually went and bought, hold on, I'll show you in a second. So again, I told you guys, I'm not a quote unquote prepper, but I do believe in having some stuff on the shelf in case the food supply gets disrupted. Because I don't think necessarily that the world's gonna end, and I do think that the food supply is gonna come back online in a short while. But you never know, and when the shelves are absolutely bare, your family still has to eat something. So we went and bought rice. I went and bought, Mrs. MIgardener went and bought some 20-pound bags of rice. This will last us quite a while. Basically, they said that a family of three, if you're buying rice, a family of three needs about 20 pounds of rice for a month. So that's basically a month's supply of rice right there, and that's every single day. It's 30 days of rice. Now, the next thing that you can grow are beans. Beans are high protein foods that are going to give your family sustenance. Protein and carbohydrates are the two macros that you really need to focus on if you're looking at just temporary self-sufficiency. You need to fill your body with something. That's why we ship off rice and beans to third world countries that are malnourished and starving, because it fills their belly up and gives them energy and sustenance. Now, it's not nutrients. So what I would recommend doing is also combining that with high nutrient crops. This is probably my most important food to be self-sustaining and self-reliant because, hold on, I'm making breakfast right now. So can't forget about my breakfast. When you're looking at foods that are highly nutritious, we're talking about greens. We're talking about things like spinach. We're talking about things like kale. Fast turnaround crops. You don't want to grow something that's going to take a long time, because if you have a food shortage right now, you don't want to grow something that's going to take 110, 120 days. That's, in my opinion, a little bit silly. Now, it's not to say don't focus on those things, because if the food supply does come back on, you might still want to eat something like a parsnip. You might still enjoy parsnips, but if your sole goal is to kind of just grow your garden for self-sufficiency and immediate food supply, grow stuff that is very quick. Another one that is a great one are mustard greens. These greens grow so fast, and they're so high in vitamin K, vitamin C, and like micronutrients that are very, they're very small in amounts, but very important to your body. You also want to grow things like iron, foods that are rich in iron, foods like beets. Iron is a very important mineral for your blood, for your heart. And so you really need to grow those things if you're looking at growing a well-rounded food supply for your family. The next thing that you really should be focusing on are fruits. Now, fruits are kind of a main season item. They don't really like cold weather, but you really should be investing right now into some fruit trees. Now, we've always talked about how our fruit trees are kind of the prized possession of our property, because in a square foot of fruit tree, we're going to grow more pounds of fruit than anything else in our garden, more than tomatoes even. And so, in about 10 square feet with our peach trees, because they grow vertically rather than out, we're actually growing about, in a given season, we're growing about 80 pounds of peaches in that amount of square footage. So it's really incredible. And so you really should be focusing on fruits. Not only are they rich in water content, but they're also very rich in vitamins and minerals. They're also high in sugars, which are very, very important as well. Now, the next food that you can be growing, that actually is already probably growing on your property, is maple trees. And you're not growing them for the maple trees themselves, but the sugar that comes from them. This is maple syrup that we made. There's nothing better, in my opinion, than maple syrup. It's a natural sugar. It is a refined sugar because you're basically boiling out all of the water, but this is not what I would consider like an unnatural source of sugar. I mean, if you took maple sap and let it sit out just to dehydrate, you would still get the same product. It would just take a lot longer, and it would probably ferment before it got to complete syrup stage. But the fact of the matter is that this is not like this is not a high fructose corn syrup, right? This is not a bleached white cane sugar. This is just natural sugar, and it comes right from the tree. This is a great item to have because this is very high in carbohydrates because it's quite literally just sugar. But this will also allow you to have huge bartering power. Now, this is definitely more along the lines, this is the kind of the prepper mindset coming out of me. But if you have food that people really crave, sugar is one of them. And so this is a high dollar item. This holds a lot of weight on your shelves, and this is something you can make from your trees. This is also just from a personal dietary position. Again, very high in sugar. It's going to give you a lot of energy, but it's also rich in minerals. This is very good. This is very rich in minerals. You can also take, if you're looking for a mineral substitute, you can even take the raw sap right out of your tree, and it is rich in minerals because the tree is actually mining those minerals up from the root system, stores those, and then sends them up to the leaves. And so all those minerals are essentially what creates the leaves in the spring. And so you're essentially tapping into that energy source that was made the year prior, and you can drink that. And there are companies that bottle maple sap, and it is basically an electrolyte-rich drink. So it's basically like the Gatorade of the North. You have coconut water in the South. We have the Gatorade of the North, and that is maple sap. So a very important food, in my opinion, that you should be tapping into, no pun intended. And we have videos on how to do that. And then the final thing that I really would recommend you guys grow are foods that are very productive, foods that don't take up a lot of space. I like carrots because they are very rich in sugars, vitamin C, things like that. But if you have if you have a limited amount of space, grow things that are going to produce a lot. Grow things like cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers. These are crops where you don't have to have a lot of space for a lot of benefit. Those are crops that are going to really add a lot of food to your family's table, and they don't take up a ton of space. And one final thing that just came to my mind, because again, this is pretty impromptu. It's very impromptu. One final food that I really would recommend you guys put in your garden for self-sufficiency are herbs. We talk all the time about how there's an essential oil crisis. There was an absolute run on thyme oil and like essential thyme oil and basil oil, sage oil, all these essential oils that people claim to help with their immune system. They're also they're very good for your body when you use them in aromatherapy, but I would wager that they're probably even better as a food source because you get the essential oils in every leaf, but you also get the nutritional benefits of the leaf itself, all the fiber, all of the vitamins and minerals that come from that leaf. So things like basil, things like sage, things like thyme, oregano, you can grow these, and they are extremely, extremely easy to grow, and they're perennial, so they grow year after year. So even if the world doesn't end this year, like I don't think it will, the sky is not falling, folks. Although the media wants to make you think that it's falling, there will, like I said, there will come a time when this passes. But grow those herbs as well. And then the very final thing that you can do with those herbs is you can also you can make them into essential oils. If you go online, they do sell some makeshift essential oil distillery options. And I've never tried this. Maybe this is a video for the summertime. If you guys want to see a video on it, let me know in the comments box below. If this video gets 2,000 likes, we'll set the bar kind of low because I don't know if it's going to be something you guys want to see or not. But if this video gets 2,000 likes, no, 3,000 likes. We'll set the bar medium here. If this video gets 3,000 likes, I will go out and I'll personally purchase a distillery for making essential oils, and it basically is just this big pot that you put on the stove. It goes up, you put all your herbs in the bottom with a little bit of water. It boils, and when it boils, it actually agitates the essential oils and sends it up with the steam, and then it has a series of coils where it condenses, it cools it, and then the essential oils obviously separate from the water, which then just sit on the top of a collection jar, and you just draw that off with a pipette. And it's very simple to do. It's a very simple system, and you can make DIY versions. I just don't have the time for it, so I'll go buy one. But if you guys want to see it, let me know. But you can do that with your herbs as well, is turn them into essential oils, and those are great to use in vaporizers, your essential oil diffusers. And yeah, it's really great for your overall health. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. I really do hope that you guys stay calm, and hopefully this helped. I would say 30 at least, maybe 40 emails this morning when I woke up just about this topic between Facebook, Instagram, and email. It blew me away how many people wanted to see a video like this. So sorry it was impromptu. I just felt the need to really get this out to you guys, and hopefully I did an okay job of getting the facts out to you all. If you guys have any other questions, post them in the comments box below. If there's any foods that you'd recommend getting, post them in the comments box below as well. And yeah, one final food that kind of just came to my mind would be honey as well. Honey is another really sweet substitute, just like maple syrup. And the bees do the work for you. So they also help pollinate your garden as well. So maybe you think about getting some bees as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something new. And as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow big or go home. We'll catch you all later. See ya.